Pharaoh's Get the Facts. I'm your host, Taylor Toodle.
I'm your co-host, Taylor Singletary. And today we have the youngest person to ever be elected to Detroit City Council at just 26 years old, and also future electoral candidate, Mary Sheffield.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming.
How do you feel so far?
I feel good. I'm excited to be here. I absolutely adore our youth, which is really one of the reasons why I ran. And I'm just looking at you guys and just reminding myself of when I was in high school. And I love CMA. I love communications. I love media and arts. And I'm just really pleased so far to see what I've been able to see. So excited to be here. And I'm glad that you all chose me out of all the people that you could have chosen to interview. So thank you for having me.
We're really happy to have you here. If you cannot tell, everyone greeted you at the door. We were really excited. Okay, so I'm going to tap into the first question. How do you think your previous experience and community involvement has shaped your approach to leadership?
Tremendously. When I took office or when I ran for office, I had absolutely no political experience whatsoever. And to be quite honest, I wasn't really interested in politics. However, I had a passion for people. I had a passion for justice, equality. I grew up under a father who was legendary in the civil rights movement, who marched with Reverend King. And legendary leaders like Cornel West. You guys know Cornel West and L. Sharpton. These are the people who I was around as a kid. And so I just always had a fight for people and like I said, justice, and also just service. So my father instilled upon me at a young age the importance of community work and giving back to your city, giving back to your neighborhood and your community. And so that was what molded me as a young kid. And when I ran for office, I brought that to my campaign. I'm a community-centered person, a community-driven person, and everything that I do is about the people of Detroit and about justice and equality and ensuring that those people have representation as I actually take office in Detroit. So really my whole entire life as a young kid in my community work has really molded me to who I am today. And I think people really commend that about me as well.
Passion, I feel it. Coming to somebody who's going to be 18, so able to vote is like, that's what we want to see. That's what we need to see as minors, as kids, as growing up. We need to see those people empowered.
Yes.
It's lovely to see now.
Thank you.
So you've talked a lot about how much passion you have for your community. And through research, we've seen that you have some initiatives and programs like Conversations with the Councilwoman, Neighborhood Angels, and so on. So which of the initiatives and programs do you think is crucial for the betterment of our community?
All of them. Seriously, all of them. But one that is near and dear to me is called Occupy the Corner. Have you guys heard of Occupy the Corner? Where we get with like Big Sean. We had Big Sean. We had Jeezy out. We've had Skilla Baby. We've had T Grizzly. Mike Epps was at our last one, where we try to bridge the gap between our young people in politics or government. And we come out and we bring artists and we have meaningful conversations. We bring resources to the community because oftentimes what I've learned is that sometimes in disenfranchised communities or lower income communities, people are disconnected from city government. They don't know who represents them. They don't want to get involved. And oftentimes you need a celebrity or someone that these young people look up to really bridge the gap between government and the community. And so that's one of my favorite programs. We've registered thousands of people to vote. We've got people connected with resources that improve their quality of life, whether it was home repair assistance, foreclosure prevention assistance, utility assistance for their homes, and really been able to improve the quality of life for people that I represent. And then the second thing, it's not really a program, but it's an ordinance that I passed. I'm very passionate about affordable housing, which I'm sure you guys have researched. And we have a crisis in our city right now where women and children are sleeping in their cars, trying to find adequate, safe, quality housing. And so I passed an ordinance that requires that all new projects that come to Detroit, all new residential projects that you're seeing, that a portion of those units be set aside for families that are low income. So I'm very, very proud of that as well.
Thank you. And diving back into the initiatives and whatnot, your homeless initiative, that's one of the ones we researched, and that's one of the ones we picked out the most important to us. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. So I was one of the first people that ever launched a task force dedicated solely to the issue of homelessness. And again, it goes back to what you said, like what shaped me as a young girl. And again, it was always looking out for the least of thee. I actually come from a religious family as well, too. My father is a bishop, and I grew up in the church. And so to me, it's just important that we look out to the least of thee in our community. In fact, I believe our society is judged on the way we treat the less fortunate. And so the Homeless Task Force was really just an initiative to dedicate stakeholders to come together and really lift up the issue of how we house those who are homeless in our communities. How do we address the stigma of homelessness? How do we provide the wraparound services to those who are experiencing homelessness in our city? And we've done some great things. We actually got federal grants to come in because of that Homelessness Task Force. And we actually found the first ever youth committee. What we found is that there's a lot of homeless youth in our city who may not actually qualify as homeless because they're couch surfing, right, while they're in high school. And so there's a huge population of young people in our city that are actually technically homeless. And so we started a youth committee on that as well, too. And we've been able to get federal funding for that as well, too. But we've done a lot of work around the issue of homelessness in Detroit. We've made tremendous progress, but we still have a long, long way to go. Long way.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
So besides you and your team helping out the community of Detroit, I want to ask, what do you think the community of Detroit itself could do for the city as a whole?
Good. That's a good question. I think that the community can, one, just step up and take responsibility, not necessarily always leaning towards government for everything. I'm really big on that the future of our city is a collaborative effort. It's not going to just take council, the mayor, our police department, but it's going to take all of us to find our individual gifts and to contribute to the regrowth of our city. It's also going to take our young people like you are. Like once you get your degrees and once you graduate and to get educated, like you don't just leave Detroit and never come back and serve your talents to Detroit. Because we have a huge issue in our city where most people graduate and they go to college and we never see them again, and we lose some of that talent that we need in our city to grow our city. So I just think it takes individually all of us to step up and contribute and not just point fingers, not complain, not look to those who have titles and positions, but understand that God has given each of us a gift. And I think a part of our gift, all of our gifts, is service. And it's service to our communities. And so whether it be starting a block club, whether it be mentoring someone, whatever it is, we have to contribute to the issues that we see in our community and not just point fingers or blame or complain or leave because we're upset, but figure out ways that we can contribute.
Now I feel like I was getting preached to. I got ordained as a minister. How did that shape you, and what led you to?
Oh my God, my faith, and I hope I'm okay talking about my faith because my faith is everything. And one of my slogans is led by faith, driven by purpose. Mm-hmm. When I ran for office at 26, people told me, "You're too young. You're not educated enough. You don't have the experience. You're not capable." I didn't have the experience, quite honestly. But when you are following the path that God has placed in your heart and you are utilizing your gift and the purpose that God has given you, he will put you in rooms that you're not qualified to be in. And he will open up doors for you that no man can close. He will put you before great people or great men. And so my faith is everything. Politics is not easy. It's not an easy arena to be in. I oftentimes say that I have become very callous in a sense because you have to be tough, you have to be assertive, and I'm naturally just a cool, calm, collective young woman. But politics makes you tough. But through all the trials and the tribulations, it has been my faith that has really sustained me. And I oftentimes look at a lot of our young women because I mentor a lot too. I go into high schools and I, mentor young girls. And I truly believe that we have an identity crisis with our young women and our young people who are trying to build their identity on all the wrong things. But I want you to know, really knowing who you are and the power of what is inside of you and what you can achieve is in that relationship with your creator. Right. And so it has been everything in who I am. And I have never shied away from it. Because oftentimes people will say, well, how do you mix politics and religion? And it's just who I am. You can take it or you can leave it, because I know I wouldn't be here had it not been for the grace of God, had it not been for the calling over my life.